Hotter seat, John or Kyle? Honestly, at this point in time, I waver back and forth a bit in that I find it hard to decide whether it's a talent issue or an execution issue. As talented as this team is, and we did just go through a list of the talent that is on this roster, it's also very easy to go through and point out on amazing misses that they have made throughout the lifetime of this duo in John and Kyle. And I tend to think, or at least John's statements have led me to believe, that most of those decisions should fall on him. Even if he's listening to Kyle and taking input from his head coach with what he stated definitively in this offseason, the buck stops with him when it comes to roster building. He is in charge of the draft. He is in charge of free agent signings. He certainly was the last man to execute the trade of DeForest Buckner. What do you see as the party to assign greater blame to at this point in time for the 49er faithful?
Yeah, well, listen, I mean, from us, the hotter seat should absolutely be Kyle, period, point blank. And we talk about leadership and how you put the onus on you and you say it's my fault, me. You never say we. You always say I when you're taking blame and you're being asked those questions. John Lynch is just savvy. That's what he's doing right there. Now, I'm not saying he's absolved of everything, no, and that's he's got no part in it. That's not what I'm saying. But he's just doing what a leader should do. At the end of the day, realistically, though, John is the one that is absolutely on the hottest of hot seats, because if Kyle leaves, he was handpicked by Kyle, which means John is out. And guess what? I'm pretty sure that when push comes to shove and you have the meetings right before the offseason where you sit down with the owner, you explain what the future looks like, you talk about it during the exit interviews, these guys are going to be going tit for tat behind closed doors, and Kyle 100% is going to look at York and say, listen, I just had to redshirt basically this whole draft class. Take with that what you will, but this team was ready to win this year. I still fully believe that. We had some injuries. We didn't have the proper depth, and, the wheels fell off the wagon. But I feel like this team not only was ready to win this year, but I think the team is more ready to win next year, and I'm the guy to lead it. I just don't know if we have the guy in place to get me the pieces. That's how that conversation is most likely going to go.
Yeah.
Somebody's certainly getting fired at the end of the season. I think that is almost beyond a doubt at this point, and it's going to be John.
There are very few scenarios that end with a happy ending for the 49ers this season, right? If you run the simulator 1,000 times, there's maybe 3 times out of that 1,000 where it ends well for the 49ers this season. And I'm not saying that they can't. This is the type of team that if they put together a long winning streak, they would be the matchup that you wouldn't want to see in the wild card round, right? That because they're a talented team. If they get their shit together, if they can actually look like a team for 60 minutes of football, if they can actually execute on a weekly basis, they could be that team to beat. I don't think that that's a strong possibility at this point. It would take a lot of things going their way. I also would agree with the sentiment that if I'm assigning portions of blame out here, I'm lumping more on Kyle's plate, because I do think that on some level, John Lynch is not a figurehead, but also not in complete control. He's not doing many of these major moves without Kyle Shanahan's explicit sign off on what they're doing. And therefore, yeah, I think Kyle deserves a bit more of the blame if we're doling it out. But at the end of the year, if I'm looking at both these candidates and one has to answer for the shortcomings, I'd be happier with Lynch answering for it. Because, and I tweeted this out, and I mean it to this point, what I saw in that first drive of what the 49ers were able to do with misdirection in the run game, that is the genius of Shanahan. It jumps off the page when it's working well. And you can say that all the other flaws greatly outweigh it, and I'd have a hard time arguing that to this point. To this point, yes. In fact, his character flaws outweigh the genius. And that's saying something, because I think the genius is palpable. But my fear is that it's correctable, that he can in fact grow and will in fact grow, and then we'll watch him with some other organization. And I know in saying that it's a bit irrational to allow fear of what may be, fear of Jed blowing the next head coaching candidate, fear of him going on and having some success with another organization. But to me, it is that potential of Kyle that keeps me salivating, that keeps me coming back for more abuse over and over and over again. And that cues up Fable's comment here of, Rob, am I insane for watching the 49ers over and over and over and expecting us to win? Yes, the definition of insanity, but I'm right there with you, my friend Fable. It's a situation where you would think someone would have to answer for this. I also tweeted last night that this is the type of game in years past Jed would have angry tweeted about. Jed would have absolutely said something along the lines of this being unacceptable 49ers football and we will do better, and that type of a tweet. It felt like that kind of game to me.
I'll say this, and I don't think it's going to happen because I think Chicago's really that bad. If they lose to Chicago, I'm calling it right now, somebody's getting fired within 48 hours of that game. And I'm not saying necessarily Kyle or John, but a position coach. Somebody is losing their job after that game. Somebody will be a scapegoat. The heads will start rolling. There is no way that they lose to Chicago without some sort of change. That's my bold prediction. Now, it's only bold if they lose to Chicago. They shouldn't lose to Chicago. But also, the 49ers aren't a good team. If the 49ers were a good team, this is a game that good teams go out and win handily. I am not sold that the 49ers can do just that. I don't think Justin Fields is very good. I don't think Nagy is very good. I think this game is an easy one if you're a solid team, but the 49ers haven't shown to be that.
Right. That's a real question about this 49ers team. Josh G says both are on the hot seat, but Kyle just doesn't care anymore, unlike John. I think that there's a large percentage of the 49ers fan base that are starting to feel this way, that are starting to be really, really irritated with Coach Shanahan because of the way in which he interacts with the press and how that comes across. And I agree with the last point that you just made, that what you will see from 49er faithful, from the national media, even from the local reporters, and particularly from those of us in the YouTube space, because of the fandom that surrounds the interaction, the dialogue, you will see exponential growth in the panic that happens. It won't just be a continual, gradual. No, if we lose to the Chicago Bears next week, 49er faithful will collectively lose it. I mean, on a level that is Jim Tom Sula bad.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, 100%. There was a really good comment by, there's actually a couple of them. Hold on a second. Let's see.
Ooh, call them out. I'll throw them up. You tell me the timestamp.
So yeah, 9:49. Gavin, listen, I love Gavin, by the way, but he says Nagy sucks.
Notorious GAV, we'll call that out.
So this is funny because this right here is a comment that all 49er fans, it's two down. He says Nagy sucks. All 49er fans have this same thought. Here's the difference. Nagy has a better record than Shanahan does. Oof. And Nagy, unlike Shanahan, is not afraid to have the gall to play his rookie quarterback. Despite him not playing well, he's sticking with them and letting the kid work through all of the issues. That is the difference. So if Nagy sucks, we have to look in the mirror about our own head coach, because I'm not sure what makes Shanahan any better than Nagy.
Yeah, listen, Kyle, either he made one of two mistakes. Either he should actively be playing his rookie quarterback right now, or he should have been a bit more accurate in his own belief of where we were at the beginning of the season, right? I mean, for me, the Matt Nagy situation works out because he came in with the proper expectations. We have sort of a bridge quarterback coming in here, but the future is very clear. We are going forward with Justin Fields. We're not a great team. Shanahan and Lynch tried to sell this message that we were both a great team now and a team that was going to develop a superstar for the future. And I feel as a fan that I've been sold that bag of goods, that bill of goods. And it's the expectations. It's the difference between expectations and reality. That delta is what leaves me feeling so dirty at this point in the season so far.
They tried to sell us snake oil and blinker fluid, and we bought it, Rob. We bought it.
Blinker fluid, indeed. Time to change that blinker fluid.